I usually wait a couple of days until I do a video about something like this before I usually wait before I talk about something like this because I'm not prepared. And I'll probably contradict myself. But I don't want to wait. I just want to talk about it. Talk about it. And I don't even know where to start. I don't know where this is going to go. But you know what? I was thinking, if you need to fix a problem, you need to figure out how it was created in the first place. That's the only way I think that you can fix it. And I think that's what I'm going to talk about today. So a girl, female with the RCMP, she graduated in 2019. Shaylin Yang. 2019, she becomes a police officer. She lived in Richmond, and she got Burnaby. And that's where she was working. Working with, her position had something to do with mental health, outreach. She dealt with people that had mental health issues. A position that I didn't even really understand existed until a couple of years ago. When I was in Langley, there was no such thing as a section that had to do with a member going out in public and dealing with crazy people. And I'm really sick and tired. See, I'm going to go off. I'm not going to stop calling them homeless. Okay? Stop saying they're vulnerable. Stop saying they're mentally ill. Stop saying that they got drug addictions. Okay? Stop feeling sorry for these people. Stop giving them terms like that. These terms are ridiculous. They're almost like they're victim terms. What do you call them? None of that. None of those titles. They don't deserve those titles. Okay? They're crazy people. They're dangerous, crazy people. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. People trying to convince the general public that there really is a problem that they need to address. And this is their idea of doing it. No police officers, just regular people basically, are going to come and confront an angry person, try to talk down an angry person that's whacked out of their head. Most of these situations are not emergencies, but they can be. You know what? A guy whacked out angry? Not an emergency? What is often needed is de-escalation, immediate food, water, and clothing. Yeah. What we need is we need $5 million right away up front, guys. That's all. They will de-escalate situations and provide care using a cultural, gender, and trauma-informed approach. What? Did you guys get that? Did that make sense to you? No, it didn't make sense to you. Because it doesn't make sense. That's what they do. They don't even know what they're talking about. Dangerous. I had a social worker, somebody from mental health, tell me that once. She said, Clint, you know what? I believe that they're all capable of murder. So I'm like, who do we blame here? Is it too early? Is it too soon to blame? I'm thinking, I can't do that. Let's just let her have her moment. But I'm like, you know what? Every single time a police officer kills somebody or even hurts somebody, who do they blame, right? They blame the police. About a month ago, this nut job murders 11 people, stabs something like 11 or 12 people to death. Who do they blame? The police. They didn't show up quick enough. The parole board, they're at fault, right? Wortman kills 22 people. Who do they blame? The police. And sometimes I think, because when I read this article the other day about Shaylin, I immediately wanted to blame somebody. So I could understand why you need to blame somebody. If Wortman would have killed one of my kids, I'd probably instantly blame the police. So I get it. I kind of understand it. Chantel Moore takes a knife. She won't stop approaching a police officer. He has no choice but to shoot her. Who do we blame? Not her. We blame the police. Right, Mark Miller?
I watched in disgust yesterday a number of these incidents. I don't understand how someone dies during a wellness check. When I first saw the report, I thought it was some morbid joke. And you look at it and you say, yes, there'll be an independent investigation. But frankly, along with many Canadians, Indigenous peoples living in Canada, politicians, I'm pissed, I'm outraged.
What does he say today about it? About this officer being killed? Nothing. He hasn't said a thing about it. Are you pissed over this? No. Thompson man with a knife will not stop approaching a police officer. The police officer is basically backed up onto the road. He's got no choice. The guy's a foot away, and he has to shoot him. Doesn't kill him. Shoots him. Stops the threat. Who do we blame? Him.
In the media and other platforms, there are allegations of Lil Ray having a knife. However, after reviewing the video, we see no evidence of a weapon in Lil Ray's possession.
Didn't have a knife, they say. When he had a knife. Huh. You see no evidence. She's a sister. She knows if he has a knife or not. So she's saying that he didn't have a knife. And there's no evidence. Now, I might be wrong, but what does this sound like to you? Did somebody just say put the knife down? Did I hear put the knife down? Maybe I'm just hearing things. Why would somebody say put the knife down if he didn't have a knife? Taser the mother. Why would somebody in the background say taser a fella that's just being uncooperative? You don't tase somebody if they're just being uncooperative. You do if you have backup and he has a deadly weapon in his hand. Look at his right hand, okay? Maybe he just has long fingernails. I don't know.
We all need to remember that we cannot judge Ray for the state he was in.
You're judging the cops. Well, why can't we judge him? Why is that? And what state was he in?
As this does not justify the actions taken.
Yeah, it did.
Ray is only human. And like all humans, we all make mistakes.
Okay. We're not talking about spilling milk on carpet here. We're talking about a dude who's attacking a cop with a knife who wants to kill a police officer. Because that's what you're thinking as a cop. People, he's just human, guys. They make mistakes. Yeah. And this one cost him. And it was justified. But no, you want to blame the police, right? It's a police fault. We're not going to take responsibility for it. Never. Never. Ever. Not once. I haven't heard it in over a year. Nobody takes responsibility. Never justified when the police shoot. They're always to blame. They're always judged. Every single time, all the time. Jay Lowndes, shot by police in Campbell River. This guy takes a knife and murders a police dog. They end up shooting him. Turns out he was a beautiful man. An uncle who loved to make the kids pancakes. How dare the police? Mike Farnworth yesterday got all choked up talking about it. Safety boy, you know Mike Farnworth? Ooh. Absolutely nothing about the bad guy. Nobody's focused about the bad guy that did this to this girl. Nobody's even talking about it. Mark Mendocino said he was devastated over this. Devastated. He's in the House of Commons today. He doesn't look devastated. Pretty strong words, fake words. You're not devastated. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. We've been told that the homeless population don't escalate a situation. Bring them food and water.
help them with whatever they need, maybe some water or food.
Oh, that's what they need. They might need some water or food. No, sorry. They need to be sober. That's all they need. Food and water. Fuck de-escalation. Fuck it. Fuck off with de-escalation. I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. And maybe I'm taking this a little bit too far. But I was thinking, well, who are we going to blame now? I'm the only one talking about it. I'm the only one talking about the homeless, the so-called homeless. You know who we blame, right? We blame the police again. You don't think that's not going to come out? Didn't follow her training. We need more de-escalation skills. That's why it happened. Didn't follow her training. How are we blaming the police in this circumstance, Clint? In a weird way, I'll show you. I'll show you how we're actually blaming police in this circumstance. Nobody's talking about the homeless guy. Nobody's talking about the crazy man. Nobody has a title like I have a title. I don't even know what my title's going to be. But it's not going to be like any of the other titles. Nobody's calling out the dangerous so-called homeless problem that we have. Look at how the media titles everything. Burnaby RCMP officer killed on the job. Okay. Condolences. RCMP officer who died on duty. Died on duty. Died on duty? Like, was she have a heart attack? She was murdered by a homeless dude. The population that you support. Oh, I love this one. Fallen RCMP officer from Burnaby worked with the homeless. RCMP officer killed on duty was a mental health and homeless outreach team. RCMP loses officer in the line of duty. Guys, a scumbag, okay? A scumbag horrifically murdered this girl. And believe me when I tell you it was horrific. We will never hear the details probably, and I hope we don't. But my mind, and maybe it's wrong, but where are you going to take a knife? You're going to take it. That's where you're going to take it. And there's, I guarantee you, a lot of screaming and yelling. It was absolutely horrific. But you look at the media, and it's just like, ugh. Killed in the line of duty. Something to do with homeless. I just want to bring one up, okay? BC RCMP officer, 31, who worked with homeless, died bravely. And I'm like, oh my God. And maybe I'm taking it too far. Worked with homeless. We work with the homeless, guys. Like it's a beautiful group that we work with. They're homeless, down on their luck, can't afford a home. That's how the media, the government, the politicians describe these people. They don't deserve the term homeless. Stop feeling sorry for them. Stop supporting them. Stop giving them money. Make their minds better and apprehend every single one of them. They aren't homeless. They're mentally whacked out of their heads. They don't want homes. Stop giving them a victim title. Homeless? Not how we should be identifying this group. And I look at the title and it says, she worked with the homeless. And I thought, why are the police working with the scumbag group? Why? Because we have to. We got no choice. We're forced to because they're dangerous. You blame the police for everything, but who created this group? Who created this group? Are we allowed to blame them? Can I blame them for a little bit, or is that just wrong? Oh, you're throwing blame, Clint. Because honestly, I've been thinking about it. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be doing it, but this is how I feel. Let's throw this out. Let's just start blaming people. Oh, yeah, I'm going to blame some people. I'm going to blame the people that refer to them as homeless. Every time you hear a mayor say they're going to build tiny homes, I blame them. Or a mayor saying he needs 25 counselors to support the homeless, I blame them. Every time you hear these suggestions, they're the problem. Every time you hear the commissioner, the RCMP commissioner, tell you that you need more de-escalation skills, she's the problem. Or when Trudeau tells you that police need more de-escalation skills, he's the problem. This is why we are where we are. More de-escalation skills. That's what they want. That's what the commissioner wants. Because we don't treat people with mental health well enough. We're not doing it. We need to de-escalate. Bring in food and water. Fuck de-escalation. Enough with de-escalation. We should be going to every single one of these calls with a carbine at low ready. No, that's de-escalation. You got to put yourself at risk. That's what I want you to do. Every single politician. Every single one of them. And I'm talking to Depot. I don't care what you're learning at Depot. You keep your distance and you have your hand on your gun. Take that carbine out and wrap it around your body. I'm not kidding. Be ready. And if they escalate, 2 to the chest. Just be ready to put 2 into the chest. Listen to these morons. You can't listen to them. We are responsible for expanding this community, this group, because we give this group rights. We give them power. Police can't even apprehend them. And when they do apprehend them and take them to the hospital, they get released. There's no place to put them. There's nowhere to make them better. And when the police do respond, what do? We criticize the police on how they handled it. We criticize their performance, their use of force. Police are forced to respond to an uncontrollable scene. The homeless population. Without making a mistake of any sort. A mess that they created. They created it, and they won't fix it. Their fix is more money, more heat, injection sites. Tiny homes. Food, more food. Let's give them more food, more money. Of course they're going to be homeless in Canada. Why wouldn't you be? You got all this free money to buy all these drugs that you want. They're going to watch you safely inject it. And when they run out of money and drugs, they're in your backyard ripping things off and, I don't know, doing a little bit of murdering. I wrote this down. Yang was a member of the police mental health and homeless outreach team, a position created. Why do we have that position? A complete Band-Aid position. That is all. Do you think that position's working? Yeah, you know what? You know what? Maybe I should jump to Trudeau. It's an uncontrollable population because of the government and doctors. Like Bonnie Henry, who wants to legalize, we should legalize drugs for them. We should make them sicker in their head, make them a little bit more crazier. If we call them homeless, it takes the burden off the doctors and the politicians. Well, they're homeless. We can't do anything about it. But if you stick with mentally deranged or crazy, then they got to do something about it, right? A little bit. I was in Langley. There was no member of the police mental health and homeless outreach team. Come on, guys. Let's wake up here. Like, I grew up in Port Alberni, and I'm telling you, in 1989, there was more population in 1989 than there is today. And you know what I did in 86, 87, 89? I'd sneak out of my house, meet up with my girlfriend. I'd cross town. I'd walk miles so I could do bad things to her. I went through the seediest area now of Port Alberni. I never once met up with a crazy. There were no crazies. They weren't out and about. Maybe a couple. Never seen them. It was maybe a small fire back then of crazies. And in the past 20 years, what have they thrown into the fire, into the small fire? Anything but water. Money, heat, support, tiny homes, food, injection sites, low barrier housing, more mental health workers. This fire is a forest fire. They're not fixing it. It's uncontrollable. And then the police have to go out and fix their mess, clean up their mess, and get killed doing it. This didn't have to happen. It wasn't like this before. Every year, every month, it gets worse and worse and worse. We do nothing about it. We don't even really talk about it. That's how people get elected. You help out the homeless. You give them a title called the homeless. The vulnerable, the most vulnerable. Stick it up your ass. You take these people, you make them get better. And if they don't get better, then they don't leave the institution. Get a goddamn institution and put them in there. I shouldn't have to walk around where these nut bars are. And this Shaylin shouldn't have had this happen to her. She didn't deserve that. Well, she knew what she was getting into, right? No, she didn't. She didn't think for once that she was going to get murdered as a police officer. I promise you. It's not what she signed up for. This person responsible for the murder is a guy that came from that community. The community that they created. They created it. It's massive. It's huge. It's out of control. Everything they do does not work. It doesn't work at all. You know what Trudeau said today in the House of Commons? Does this make any sense to you?
This is one of a series of murders of our police officers as part of a larger violent crime wave. What changes will the Prime Minister make to policies to put this crime wave to an end?
Honourable Prime Minister. Heart goes out to the family of Constable Yang, to the community, not just in BC, but right across the country where we know we've seen murdered police officers in Ontario and elsewhere across the country as well. We need to do more to step up on our mental health funding, as the honourable member before mentioned. We need to make sure we are giving our frontline police officers the tools to be supported as they encounter difficult situations. We need to make sure that they are not the only mental health workers out there accessible to so many people, but unfortunately they have been extraordinary at it, but we need to provide better support. Provinces and the federal government need to work together to fund more mental health supports.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Canadians are also suffering with the skyrocketing increases in
inflation. That's it, guys. We need to. But they ain't doing anything. They're never talking about it again. That conversation's over. That's all they said about it. Done. We need to, but we're not going to. There's more work to do, but we're not going to do it. More funding? What are you talking about? Tools? Police officers need tools. What tool are you talking about? How about you describe that? What tool are you talking about? She had the tools. She had guns. Okay? She had a gun. What tool? You know what he's talking about? He's talking about nurses. More mental health staff to add to the community that they can't control and refuse to fix and control. He's saying we shouldn't have police go to these calls. We need more nurses and mental health support, more money. Pour in more money. That it's not working. Believe me. You want a cop to go deal with these bad individuals within the homeless population. They're crazy and they can murder you. They're very dangerous. You want a police officer showing up. But when you listen to Trudeau, he doesn't want that. He wants a couple of nurses. Yang went with somebody from the Burnaby Park, okay? She was assisting the Burnaby Parks, something like that. Now, if 2 nurses would have showed up, or 2 mental health support workers showed up, there'd be 2 dead people. But because Yang showed up, there's only 1 dead person, her. That park person would have been dead if the park person showed up with a mental health worker. We have to go to these calls. You want police going to these calls for that reason. She saved somebody. She shot a guy. She shot him. He lived. But she probably stopped the threat. She stopped him from killing that park worker. But we shouldn't be put in this position. In Port Alberni, there was no homeless people. In your community, when you were younger growing up, do you remember any? Why is there now? The Liberal government. It's insanity. And I shouldn't just say the Liberal, maybe it's all government. And Trudeau's fix is to keep on feeding the fire. Park employee goes with a nurse, they're both dead. Now this guy faces a murder charge, big deal. I'm sure we're going to learn all about his history. We're going to find out why he was never, apprehended, because we can't apprehend him. We're going to talk about light sentences. How many light sentences? Because that's their ideas, right? We got to give the vulnerable, the homeless, light sentences. Make all drugs legal for that group. Not only that, we're going to watch them safely inject it and watch their minds go crazy. And you police are going to show up and be put in a dangerous position. You might get murdered, but that's the best we can do. Because we're helping out the vulnerable community. Homeless people, crock of shit, fuck off. They don't want homes, fuckhead, okay? Even if they were given a home, they can't live in it, they would destroy it. They get kicked out of the shelter, they can't even follow rules or pissing on the garbage cans. You need to take the people and put them in institutions. It's pretty easy. But no, we'll never talk about it again. And another couple die. Vulnerable. We call them struggling. He's struggling. The struggling homeless in a tent. Look at him. Who gave him the tent? Who's that person that gave him the tent? You think you're helping? He's living in a tent, high as fuck. Waiting to murder. A bomb ready to go off. Whacked out, walking down Hastings streets. Just a shaking and a bacon. But we have to care about these people? If you really want to care about these people, you don't give them money and food and water. You apprehend them, you make them better. But no, they don't deserve jail. They deserve lighter sentences. Maybe it's time we treat them as a problem. Oh, wow, you ever think of that? Let's not call them homeless. Let's call them a problem. Because that's what they fucking are. An absolute problem. And how do you fix that problem? Institutions. You don't fix it the way they've been doing it for the past 20 years. It's worse. It keeps on getting worse. It ain't working. Shouldn't this, what happened to Yang, be the final straw? Not even close. We support the homeless community because they're vulnerable. They're struggling. Mentally ill, They're addicted to drugs. My town served 200 of them for Thanksgiving. Clint, that's pretty harsh. Is it? Shouldn't we be? If they're a problem, are we not allowed to be a little harsh? A cop was just murdered by one of them. You think that's fair to her family? To her? How about the police that responded to this? The ambulance, the police, everybody. The cop who had to knock on the door and tell the husband that she's not coming home tonight. Can you think of anything worse than being a cop having to do that? It was probably the big wig of Burnaby, the detachment, that did it. And wow. That fair to him? So, but what do we do as police stations in Canada? We create outreach mental health cops. Throw in some Band-Aids. Keep on doing what you're doing. Just a shaking and a bacon wherever you want. Let's watch it go. We just sit back and watch it grow. And we watch it get worse. More tiny homes, more injection sites, more Band-Aids, more positions, more funding, more staff. And then I think, are they the problem? This is me talking it out. Or are they the problem? Are they not the problem? Is the government not really the problem? Nobody deserves to run around sick. I'm gonna run around town, not live in a home? You shouldn't be allowed to do that. That should be outlawed. So really, if you want to dig deep, the problem's them. I know it. I was a cop for a lot of years. I've seen it. Never met one true homeless person who was down on their luck, they lost their job, and they were forced onto the street. That doesn't happen. Because really, if they were homeless, we would just get them a job, wouldn't we? There's a lot of jobs in Canada right now, isn't it? And how do they want us to deal with these people? They want police to deal with them softly. And when we don't, we're the problem. The police are the problem. They actually hide behind it. They hide behind the real problem because they don't want to deal with it. We never make them better. We make them sicker. Light sentences. Get back on the street. Keep on doing your drugs. You need free money to do your drugs. Here you go. We make them sicker. We make them more mental. We make them more crazy. If they were just homeless, then why are they killing people, guys? Homeless people don't kill people. Right? True definition of a homeless person. They don't kill people. That's how they get out of it, by calling them homeless. Yeah, she died, but it was a homeless person that did it. They're vulnerable. Okay, they got mental health issues, drug addictions. We got to keep on feeding them. Feed the homeless. Let's see if they refer to this scumbag who killed this cop homeless down the road. Bet you they don't. I don't know. I just came down here. I wanted to talk for 10 minutes. I went off. I really honest to God, guys, I don't know if I said anything. I don't know if I contradicted myself. It's something that I need to think about for a few days. I shouldn't have came down here and talked about it so soon because I'm still trying to work it out in my head. It's really heartbreaking when you see this happen. And it really is senseless. And it really pissed me off when I seen Trudeau stand up and talk about tools. He always says that. Police, we need to give them more tools. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Give them more tools. Doesn't that drive you crazy? What are you talking about? We need more tools. What do you mean? And the commissioner's right behind him. Yeah. De-escalation. Guys, you got to stop de-escalating. Okay? You are safer showing up in an escalated state. I swear to God. You are. Be ready. Be pumped up. Enough of this. Hey, Billy, you need some food and water? You want a banana? How about some cookies? Go fuck yourself. This is an important job. You got an important position. And you got this candy ass Lucky running the organization this way. Racist training. We're racists? Like, what a joke. A complete joke. That you guys had to do racist training by September 30th. You got a diary date. You got to go on Agora online and do this bullshit racist training. And I swear to God, I haven't read the test or whatever you want to call it, the three-hour course that you had to do. I could just imagine the questions, and I can imagine where you started. 1856, back in 1856. You got this, who I think, and I might be wrong, but she's a little bit lunatic, running your organization, teaching you how to be a better police officer with racist training and more de-escalation. The next commissioner, I hope, is serious. I hope you're serious, next commissioner. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with showing up to a call escalated. It might save your life. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I probably said a bunch of things wrong. Whatever. That's it. Sorry to this member. Sorry to Burnaby. All you police officers out there having to go through this. I'm glad I never had to. I couldn't imagine showing up to one of my own, bleeding to death. And for no good reason whatsoever. Okay, I'm out of here. Bye-bye.